Welcome to the Old Coins Explorer. Imagine you're holding a small piece of metal, a coin no bigger than a bottle cap, yet it connects you to the rich heritage, pride, and evolution of an entire nation. That's what the 1988 UAE 1 Dirham coin truly is, a modest, silver-colored coin carrying the weight of Emirati identity and economic journey. Let's talk about this fascinating piece of history that often goes unnoticed in our wallets and drawers, the 1988 UAE 1 Dirham coin. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a curious collector, or someone who just found an old coin lying around, you're about to discover a surprisingly interesting world hidden behind this ordinary-looking coin. The UAE, or the United Arab Emirates, was formed in 1971. It's a relatively young nation, but with incredibly fast-paced development. From vast deserts to skyscrapers that touch the clouds, Dubai and Abu Dhabi especially, the transformation has been astonishing. And coins like this one are silent witnesses to that growth. The 1 Dirham coin minted in 1988 is more than a piece of change, it's a marker of time. Back then, the UAE was still building its identity, and every coin minted had meaning and purpose behind its design. The first thing you'll notice about the 1988 1 Dirham coin is its shape. It's not perfectly round, like most coins. It's actually a heptagon, meaning it has 7 sides. This unique shape not only helps distinguish it by touch, but also gives it a stylish appearance. The coin is made of cupronickel, a combination of copper and nickel, which gives it its bright silver tone and makes it resistant to rust and wear. That means even if you found this coin decades later, it still might look pretty good. On one side of the coin, the obverse, you'll see a traditional Arabic coffee pot called a dallah. Now, this isn't just some random decorative element. The dallah is a powerful symbol of Arabian hospitality. For centuries, offering coffee to guests has been a deep-rooted part of the culture. The presence of the dallah on the coin is a salute to Emirati values, respect, generosity, and warm welcomes. The coffee pot design is elegantly detailed. You'll notice the long curved spout, the pointed finial at the top, and even the handle is artistically curved. It's subtle yet iconic. If you've ever been to the UAE or even seen souvenir items from there, you've probably noticed how common this coffee pot design is. It's practically a cultural logo. On the reverse side of the coin, the denomination is displayed in both Arabic and English. You'll see the number 1 flanked by the Arabic script, which translates to 1 dirham. Around the edges, United Arab Emirates is written in both English and Arabic. It's clean, bold, and easy to read. This bilingual design makes the coin usable by both locals and tourists, which is especially important in a country that hosts a massive expat population. Now let's talk numbers. The 1988 1 Dirham coin has a diameter of 23.8 millimeters and weighs about 6.4 grams. That's slightly lighter than a US quarter, but just as comfortable to carry around. Even though the design hasn't changed drastically over the years, the 1988 version stands out among collectors for its specific minting year and its association with the early days of the UAE's economic maturity. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Back in 1988, the dirham had much more purchasing power than it does today. A single dirham could buy you a decent street snack, a small item from a local store, or cover your bus fare. It was valuable in daily life. And because coins were used constantly, many got worn out or lost over time. That makes a well-preserved 1988 dirham coin quite a treat to find today. What about its value now? Well, this is where collectors start to perk up. While circulated 1988 UAE 1 dirham coin may not be worth much more than face value, an uncirculated or proof version can fetch a good price, especially among regional collectors. Values typically range from $2 to $10 depending on the condition, and in some cases, even more if the coin is part of a full set or sealed in mint packaging. But keep this in mind, its real value lies in its cultural and historical significance, not just what someone will pay for it. Over the years, there have been some changes to UAE coinage. For example, in the 2000s, new dirham coins were introduced with slightly different compositions and lighter weights. There was even controversy in the mid-2000s when counterfeiters started producing fake coins that looked similar to the UAE dirham and were being used in vending machines. That led to adjustments in coin size and weight by the UAE Central Bank. So holding on to older coins like the 1988 version is like owning a piece of pre-digital UAE, a time before apps and skyscrapers, when the desert breeze still dominated the skyline. Let's not forget the sentimental value these coins can carry. For many Emiratis and long-term residents, a coin like this can remind them of childhood trips to the grocery store, getting small treats after school, or the first coin dropped into a piggy bank. These coins tell personal stories just as much as they represent national identity. And when you start looking at the bigger picture, coins like the 1988 1 Dirham also speak to global economic connections. Even though the UAE is geographically small, its economy is tied into global oil trade, tourism, and finance. Coins minted during this period reflect that early journey into becoming one of the world's richest nations. Now here's a cool fact. There were no mint marks on UAE coins in those early years, including the 1988 Dirham. So we don't always know exactly where they were minted. But it's widely believed that during the 1980s and 1990s, the UAE outsourced coin production to international mints, including in the UK and France. That means your 1988 coin may have actually traveled across continents before landing in your hand. Collectors often look for varieties such as minor design differences, errors in the Arabic script, or off-center strikes. These tiny imperfections or oddities can significantly increase a coin's desirability and market price. So if you've got a magnifying glass and an eye for detail, check your 1988 coin. You might just have something rare. Storage and care matter too. If you've come across a 1988 1 Dirham coin and you want to preserve it, avoid touching it directly with your fingers. Use gloves or hold it by the edges to avoid smudges and oils. Store it in a coin flip, capsule, or a protective album to maintain its luster and protect it from corrosion. So, what makes the 1988 UAE 1 Dirham coin special? It's a coin from a pivotal time in UAE history. It features iconic national symbols like the dallah. It holds sentimental and historical value. It might even have some collector's worth, if preserved well. Whether you're into coins for the stories they tell or for the treasures they might hold, the 1988 Dirham is one you'll want to look at more closely. It's small but significant, simple yet rich with meaning. That's the kind of coin every collector should appreciate. All right, let's rewind a little further to 1984. We're still in the heart of the 1980s, and the UAE is not yet the ultra-modern wonderland of glittering towers and mega-projects that we know today. Instead, it's a country steadily finding its footing, investing in infrastructure, building roads, ports, schools, and yes, minting coins that would support and represent its growing economy. The 1984 UAE 1 Dirham coin is one of those early coins that quietly marked the UAE's financial evolution. At first glance, it might not seem all that different from other Dirham coins minted around the same time, but trust me, once you start digging into the history, the symbolism, the design, and even its practical use, this coin starts to tell a much richer story. So let's begin with the basics. Like its 1988 sibling, the 1984 Dirham is a seven-sided, silver-colored coin. This heptagonal shape makes it distinct from many other currencies in the region, and it's practical too. You can identify it by touch alone, something that's especially helpful for visually impaired users. The coin is made from cupronickel, which is a tough and corrosion-resistant metal mix of copper and nickel. That means even if you found one today, 40 years later, it's likely still looking pretty solid. Flip the coin to one side, and you'll be greeted with a familiar figure, the dallah, the traditional Arabic coffee pot. It's an absolute icon in the Arab world, and especially within the Gulf countries. This symbol wasn't chosen randomly. It represents the values of hospitality, generosity, and community, all of which are core to Emirati culture. Serving Arabic coffee or kahwa is more than just a drink. It's a ritual, a tradition, and a show of respect. Including this symbol on the 1 Dirham coin sends a strong cultural message. We are proud of our roots. What's really interesting is that the design of the dallah has remained very consistent over the years. From the 1970s through the 1980s, and even into later decades, the coffee pot has been a constant on the 1 Dirham coin. That kind of design consistency is rare in the world of currency, where countries often change motifs every few years. The UAE, by sticking with the dallah, makes a bold statement about the cultural anchor it provides in a rapidly changing world. Now, on the reverse side of the coin, you'll see the number 1 clearly printed, along with Dirham, written in both Arabic and English. It's minimal effective and easy to understand. Surrounding the central denomination, you have the name of the country, United Arab Emirates, again in both scripts. This bilingual approach reflects the UAE's unique demographic mix. Even in the 1980s, the UAE was a melting pot of nationalities, Emiratis, South Asians, Arabs from other countries, Europeans, and many more. The dual-language layout makes it user-friendly for both locals and the global workforce that helped build the country. Now here's something cool. The 1984 UAE 1 Dirham coin is one of the earlier issues after the UAE adopted the Dirham as its official currency. The Dirham was introduced in 1973, replacing the Qatari and Dubai Rial and other regional currencies. So by 1984, this coin was part of a broader move toward monetary unification. That adds a layer of significance. This wasn't just pocket change, it was part of creating a stable, national financial identity. From a technical perspective, the coin measures about 23.8 millimeters in diameter and weighs around 6.4 grams. It's chunky enough to feel solid in your hand, but still easy to carry in a coin pouch or pocket. And let's not forget the edges. They're smooth, not reeded like some other coins, which adds to its unique texture. Back in 1984, a single dirham had noticeably more buying power than it does today. You could use it for snacks, phone booth calls, bus rides, or even small grocery items. People relied heavily on coins back then. This was long before credit cards and digital wallets. So the 1 dirham coin was a regular part of life, passed between hands daily. For many Emiratis and long-time residents, this coin represents childhood memories, first salaries, or market day shopping trips with family. In terms of value today, well, circulated coins from 1984 are still pretty common, but condition matters a lot. A heavily used one might just be worth face value, or a bit more to a local collector. But if you got one that's in excellent shape, or better yet, uncirculated or proof condition, the story changes. These can fetch several dollars or more depending on demand and where you're selling. Numismatic interest in UAE coins is steadily growing, especially among regional collectors who want to preserve the country's financial history. And here's where it gets intriguing. The UAE didn't have a domestic mint in those days. Coins like the 1984 dirham were struck overseas, typically by mints in the UK, France, or even India, depending on contracts. That means your 1984 coin may have been minted in a completely different country before arriving in the UAE to enter circulation. Some variations may exist, tiny differences in the dallah design or font thickness, for example, depending on which mint handled the job. These small details can drive up collector interest and value. The 1984 dirham also reminds us of a time when the UAE was transitioning from an oil-based economy to one that was more diversified. Dubai, for instance, was investing in its ports, airline infrastructure, and early real estate. Abu Dhabi was already becoming a major player in oil exports. So this coin isn't just a token, it's a time capsule. It represents a stage in the UAE's growth when everything was beginning to accelerate but was still grounded in tradition. Let's talk about collecting and preservation. If you have a 1984 dirham and want to keep it as a collectible, proper care is key. First, avoid touching the coin surface directly. Natural oils from your fingers can leave residues that might dull the finish or cause corrosion over time. Use soft gloves and ideally, store the coin in a protective holder or album. Avoid cleaning it with any abrasive materials. Many collectors prefer a coin with natural aging over one that's been scrubbed shiny. Now, when it comes to spotting a valuable version of the 1984 dirham, keep an eye out for coin errors. These are printing or striking mistakes like off-center images, double strikes, or weak edges. Error coins are rare and can command high prices. If you think you've got a coin like that, it's worth taking it to a numismatics expert or having it graded professionally. There's also a growing online market for UAE coins. Collectors from around the world, especially in South Asia and the Middle East, search for these coins on platforms like eBay, Etsy, and collector forums. Having a full set from the 1980s, including the 1984 dirham, can boost the value significantly. So if you're thinking long-term, this might be a good piece to hold on to. So why does this simple little coin matter? It's a snapshot of UAE's early development and economic growth. It features iconic Arabic cultural symbols. It was part of the transition to a unified national currency. It carries historical and emotional value for those who lived through the 1980s in the Gulf. So next time you find a 1984 1 dirham coin in a drawer, a market, or your family's collection, don't toss it aside. Hold it up to the light, feel its weight, notice its edges, and remember, you're holding a small but mighty piece of Emirati history.